Now let's leapfrog to 2013 when Xi Jinping championed the Belt and Road Initiative. He wants to revive the ancient Silk Road. He calls it the modern day Silk Road. It was previously called the One Belt, One Road. It flows along and beyond the Silk Road, and it forms a central part of Xi's major country diplomacy strategy. Let's see what exactly he's looking for. He calls for China to assume its prominent place with its rising power. He wants to project the leadership role for China in the global affairs. He wants to revive and extend those Silk routes via networks of new railways, ports, pipelines, power grids. And he says he wants to spur development, goodwill, and economic integration. All that he is talking about here is with respect to international or global concerns. And it will have two components, the Silk Road economic belt and the 21st century maritime Silk Road. All these are his, what should I say, ideas that he is trying to project as concern for the international good, as a means for acquiring great status and power for China, which according to him is the rising star on the horizon. But there are domestic compulsions which are necessitating this particular need for him to revive the ancient Silk Road. Look at this. He wants to integrate the poorer hinterland that he has into the economy in order to mitigate urban migration, wealth disparity, and unrest that is happening. And he has production overcapacity, there is foreign exchange reserve, and more recently, there is this economic slowdown. So it is like a case of khane ke daan talag, dikhane ke daan talag. These are his domestic goals. But what he's trying to project is, we want to be the most powerful or influential country. We are thinking of the international good and blah blah blah. What we saw in the previous slide. And he is looking to give his Chinese contractors a foot in the expanding market of established and emerging markets. So he is trying to get new business for the infrastructure sector and opportunities for his contractors in Europe and other places. He has his manufacturing capacity, he has low labor, he has excess of forex. All this he is going to utilize to spread his to get more markets for his people. And he is thinking that manufacturing capacity relocation is better, both because of rising labor costs as well as to reduce his emission. Green. He is thinking green. And what does he want the sea route to be? It is China's ambition to become a global maritime power player. That is what he is looking at when he is looking at the maritime sea route. So the Belt and Road Initiative is part of a refocus of outward investment for Chinese economy and for Chinese diplomacy. This is the bottom line. He is thinking of China, whatever he tries to project to the external world. Okay, let's look at the land and sea corridors that he is proposing. The first one, the China-Mongolia-Russian corridor. Here it is. If you look at the legend, okay, let me look at the legend itself first. The dotted line, the Silk Road and the economic belt, it goes from Xi'an here it is, all the way, going up to Rotterdam, right? And 21st century maritime Silk Road is this gray dots. This is how it goes all the way again. Okay, and railroad connections, the dark gray ones, what exists, this is what is existing, what is he proposing. There are these ports which already have Chinese engagement, they already exist. He is proposing all these lighter shade ones to be built, right? Oh, I won't get those corridors if I do this. The green color line, China, Mongolia, Russia corridor. This is where it goes. Russia, Petersburg. This is how it goes. New Eurasian land bridge goes from the second one. Here it is. From here. It goes all the way from Jiangsu province all the way to Rotterdam. This is the route that he is proposing. China, Central Asia, West Asia corridor. That is item number 3, yellow color. This one. China Pakistan corridor, Kashgar to Gwadar port. Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar. Here it is, blue color. China, Indochina, the sixth one. These are the different components and land and sea corridors that China is proposing that needs to be built. So if you look at it, there is no America yet in these corridors. But then, when you come to the network of countries and organizations that have actually joined, you will see South American countries here. Argentina has signed up. There are all the South American countries, the ones in green color, which are Belt and Road Initiative, 120 nations, 37 organizations have joined this network. And 16 plus 1 that we are talking about here at one point went on to become 17 plus 1. And then Lithuania quit. Greece was the last to join this grouping, and Lithuania quit. And again, they have gone back to 16 plus 1. But look at this, among these 37 academic institutions, he talks of projecting he's not only looking at connectivity, infrastructure, civil contracts, he's also looking at widening the scope of Chinese scientific science and technology. So you have these places where research can happen, Alliance of International Science Organizations. This is what it is. And so, countries. All these countries, poorer countries, basically are actually getting the benefits of having science and technology, what shall I say, being passed on to them through these organizations. So this is something a little beyond road, rail, ports that he keeps talking about. Here it is. I've taken a sample. See this? Myanmar. We talk only of road, rail, and ports. No, that is not what China is looking at. If you look at it, there is this pipeline. Can you see this Kyaukpyu pipeline, which is already operational, $1.5 billion. You see that this pipeline takes oil all the way from here and brings it all the way from here into China, Kunming. This is one, and there is this Pakistan. They have Thar desert. They have coal there. So what does it do? He connects Kashgar and Gwadar port, and he's investing in coal mining. So basically, China is also looking at its energy needs, not just looking at providing infrastructure deals to its people. It is also looking at its energy needs. It's trying to get oil. It is trying to get coal, and here are samples of the railway line that it proposes to build between Nairobi and Mombasa. Gwadar port will be developed by the Chinese. This power plant will be developed by them. Indonesian rail link is present here, Jakarta and Bandung. Rail link is something that he says, it's like I said, Khaneke Dan Talag and the Khaneke Dan Talag. He talks about rail, yes, he is doing that too, but he's also taking care of his energy needs. So what exactly are the priorities of this belt and road? Look at this. Oil and gas is the highest bidder over here. 38.6% of the allocation is going to oil and gas. All those mergers and acquisitions that are happening by China, it is in the oil and gas sector. There are diversified industrial products. There are financial services, technology, media, telecom, 12.5, power and utilities is at 11, consumer products, mining and metal, automotive and transportation, real estate. He is going around buying land, hospitality, construction, life sciences, agriculture, and others. These are the priorities of the Belt and Road Initiative. So what are the benefits? Are these countries that have joined the Belt and the Road Initiative benefiting from it? Yes, they are. So I have taken Pakistan and I have taken Europe for a study over here. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Like I mentioned, it goes all the way from Kashgar through Karakoram. This is the problem with us. POK. It goes through Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Abbottabad, Islamabad, reaches all the way to Gwadar port. So what is he providing for Pakistan? There is the Gwadar port construction that he will do. He will build energy projects. He will invest in infrastructure and industrial cooperation. So the aim is to do this north-south link that he is trying to achieve between the belt. Belt is running like this, right, east to west. So this is the north-south line that he is trying to between the belt, and these are the roads that he is trying to achieve for Pakistan. Yes, it is benefiting. Obviously, it is benefiting if somebody else is going to pay for its digging coal in the Thar Desert. Yes, if it is somebody else is going to build their Gwadar port. Yes, if there is this energy projects being constructed, yes, Pakistan is benefiting from it. No wonder it has staked everything and let China go through POK. Then what is happening in Europe? I picked one poor country and I picked Europe to just see how the Belt and Road Initiative is playing out. There is decrease in travel time, as it is obvious from here in this graph. You can see in the Mediterranean, both passenger traffic as well as freight. And if you look at the Mediterranean countries, there is a decrease by 44% in freight transit time and 30% in passenger time. And there is one more example here, Orient and East Mediterranean countries. They are experiencing 33% downtime, 33% reduction in freight transit time, and 27.2 as far as the passengers go. How is that happening? See, for the trains, there is this European network, trans-European network for transport, which is bringing down the passenger transit time by 30% in Mediterranean and 27% in Orient and East Mediterranean. Freight transport is because of that, this one. What is that? Yeah, freight transport are even more pronounced. This is the Orient East Mediterranean corridor. He says 2.5, European Parliament is saying 2.5 million containers will go from maritime transport and zero point 0.5 from air transport towards the rail transport, primarily using the new Eurasian land bridge through Kazakhstan, Russia, and Belarus. So if there is reduction in travel time, people are definitely going to be happy. So what has happened? There is an increase in the GDP or the purchasing power. And which countries have benefited the most? It is the Western Balkans, as you can see over here. This is on the y-axis, you have the estimated GDP effect, and this is the per capita on the x-axis. So what are the effects that you have seen? Here, Montenegro, 13.6, Serbia, 6.3% increase, Bosnia, 4.4, North Macedonia, 2.3. The highest effect has been seen in the Balkan countries, but then when you look at the 17 plus 1 group that we saw previously, you will see that Slovenia has got 1.4% increase, Croatia has got 1, and Hungary has 0.6. For remaining countries, it is above 0, but yes, there is a benefit or there is an increase in the GDP with the help of this Belt and Road Initiative. But what are the byproducts? You have surveillance, and obviously if you become a surveillant or if you go in for surveillance, people will try to subvert it. You will have subversion as well. Dr. Min Ye, an international professor at Boston, has documented how BRI is helping China police cross-border ethnic communities like Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and Uyghurs. What they did was they gifted CCTV cameras to Kyrgyzstan, saying that you sit and monitor them, but the footage is available to Chinese officials. So what happens because of that? The activists, the lawyers, others who are working on human rights issues in the border areas are under threat. So this is the surveillance that they are talking about. And so where does subversion come in? There is a artwork called the Silk Road Songbook by artists Millie Chen and Arzu Oskal. They are going around collecting stories and documenting songs all along the Silk Road. And the way they document is they talk in metaphors. The songs are not, should I say, catchy, or you don't take them at face value. He says the landscape is the visual anchor, and the solitary voice sings in metaphors. It's like, for example, it says, I knew I wanted to see the water, especially the Bosphorus. This is nothing but the sea near Constantinople. The musician says of her filming in Istanbul. So there is surveillance happening as a byproduct, and obviously there will be subversion. coming. They're kind of hand in hand. And another byproduct, there is so much of interest on the Silk Road, so people have started tourism on the Silk Road. UN World Tourism Organization, 34 countries have come in, and they, along with their affiliate members, are working together to promote Silk Road routes as transnational tourism adventure. Prashant, maybe this is for you. National Geographic has a particular package itself. It journeys across the five stans: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. They have a package where a guide will come along and he'll take you to all the interesting places, the caravansarais, the bazaars, the mosques along this route. So that's another positive byproduct, I would say, of the Silk Road. Again, is everything hunky dory? No, there are debts. There is a backlash. Rather, there are debts. There are backlashes, and there is a note. What has happened? American partners, they are basically nowhere. America didn't even was not even a part of the world when the ancient Silk Route existed, because all the story happened before 1453, before the discovery of America. And again, if they are not part of the route, but they have gone ahead and signed up with China because they are poor countries: Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile. And what has happened? There is a mounting debt now, both in the Caribbean and in the South American countries. Venezuela has ratcheted up 67.2, Brazil 28.9, Ecuador 18.4, Argentina 16.9, Trinidad 2.6, and Bolivia, Jamaica, Mexico, and other countries. Altogether, $140 billion debt. Who is going to pay them? These are all poor countries. Who is going to pay them is part of another narrative. Remember the Hambantota port that has been leased out for 99 years to China? Hambantota port was built by the Chinese for Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka could not repay the loan that they had taken, $8 billion. So what did they do? In 2017, Sri Lanka signed a lease agreement with the Chinese. And what can happen because of that? They can do anything with that particular port. They could even have the military coming in and doing practices on the Hambantota port. That is what has happened. It is basically they have gifted over the port. Actually, there is one airport too. Um, I there is a funny name that also is empty, built by the Chinese. That is Sri Lanka. What about the backlash? Look at the backlash that is happening. India opposes the Belt and Road over investments in disputed Kashmir. A great fine. What has Myanmar port done? They have scaled back from 7.5 billion to 1.3 billion. Malaysia has cancelled their rail project and gas pipeline. $20 billion, 3 billion. They cannot pay back or go with what the ideas that China is talking about, the way they build those infrastructure. The Indonesian president says he will review those projects worth $4.5 billion of the Jakarta Railway. Another, like I said, 16.1 grouping became 17.1 when Greece joined it. But in 2021 May, Lithuania quit. I think the statement by their foreign minister aptly describes what exactly is happening over here. Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs. He says, we have to speak in a united and coherent way because otherwise we cannot be credible and we cannot defend our interests and we cannot have an equal relationship with Beijing. He says China, by having the contract with each individual state or country, is being divisive. I think this very aptly tells what exactly is the problem between signing up for the BRI and not, poorer countries. This is what is happening. So this is the backlash that we see. And then coming to India, India very clearly says no, we are not interested in your Belt and Road Initiative. What does our foreign minister say? Yes, Chai Shankar, he says, any serious connectivity initiative must be transparent and conform to the most basic principle of respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is where our basic problem is, because it goes, the China-Pakistan economic corridor goes through POK. This is the problem. So, what are our apprehensions? The Chinese might misuse BRI as a geostrategic lever. It could leverage it, and it has, yeah, like I said, China, Pakistan. It goes from flagship project between Xinjiang and goes all the way up to Gwadar in Balochistan. We talk about Gilgit Baltistan wanting to be part of India, and here it is CPEC going through it. We have problems with it, obviously. And India says CPEC is a unilateral initiative and directly transgresses its sovereignty. And New Delhi is afraid that with greater geopolitical influence, see, you go build an infrastructure for a poor country, then that country is obligated to you. So China could be deriving greater geopolitical influence and undue economic and diplomatic leverage over the policy making decisions of India's neighbors in ways that disadvantage India. This is a problem. This is why we say no to BRI. The third most important thing, the maritime Silk Route that has been thought of or already almost done, is equated with the string of pearls strategy. String of pearls is you go around our country and keep building ports and everything and surround India. This is something that US has actually coined, and I'll touch upon the string of pearls. So it is, as China has committed to some ports all around India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. It is apprehensive of Chinese presence in India's backyard. Here it is. The string of pearls strategy, coined in 2004 by United States political researchers. It refers to a network of military and commercial facilities, and because of which they gain relationships along its sea lines of communication, which extend from the Chinese. See here, here it is, all the way from the mainland. They are going all across India to here, and even here, 15. Sudan, they have reached Sudan and the Horn of Africa. All the way they have been surrounded. And now you look at this line, this one. This is the China-Pakistan economic corridor. It goes from here. I was just reading, whatever the Karakoram ranges are so very rugged that whatever they build is getting destroyed. They are not able to construct, or I wouldn't say they are able to construct, but it doesn't even stand for more than a year or two. They are all coming apart, those regions. So that is one hopeful thing that I read. And another thing that I read was jihadi elements. We always see Chinese engineers are being killed, Chinese contractors are being killed. But then coming back to the string of pearls, look at all the presence of India and China in these different countries. The star is Chinese. Our flag is over here. They have built all these points. See, this sea line that we talk about, they go through four different straits. The Strait of Mandeb, it is over here. It is. See this narrow stretch between Yemen. There they have. The presence is over there. Okay. We don't see the Indian flag over here. So they could get choked over here. Right. Strait of Malacca. Here it is. Malaysia and Indonesia. You see that there is a Strait of Malacca over here. This is Lombok Strait. And here you have Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz. But what is heartening over here is you see that we have invested in the Chabahar port of Iran. Gwadar port sits somewhere here, and our port, Indian port of Chabahar, that we have helped build, sits over here. So this is one strait that we have control. The Park Strait is in our control. Okay. So this is the string of pearls. We are being surrounded by everybody. So what do? Do we sit and watch, or how do we respond to this? India changed its look east policy to act east, with emphasis on developing the infrastructure in East Asian countries. And there is this grouping, BIMSTEC, which is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. You went and made a grouping of those people. You took them on board. You became their friends. And remember this guests who were supposed to come, we made friends with all of them. The five stans, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. Where are they? They are beyond Pakistan. All these five stands here. And Russia is our friend. It is a friend of China too. Mongolia, yes, friends with us. Nepal, Myanmar, Burma, South Korea. So how does it look? Looks like we have encircled China too. Interesting. The just before I leave this session, I was reading that China has done the same with the United States as well. It's not just India that it has encircled. This is our response, and on this high note that we have responded to the string of pearls, I come to the end of the Silk Road.